Hello, everyone. Welcome again. It's another Saturday, another session on how Corona have affected the normal life of youth. And today we'll be speaking about the effect of COVID-19 on youth skills for decent work and employment. Welcome. As we're waiting for everyone to join in, can you please, anyone who would like to introduce himself, can you please introduce yourself in the chat box? Then I'll be able to read your introduction for the rest of the people who can hear you. But also, we need to connect with our fellow youth all over the world. So during the introduction, the chat box may also put your social media handle so that we can follow each other. If anyone who wishes to introduce themselves, please welcome the chat box for the introduction. Yes, we can see many people introducing themselves. We have Neyman Elia. Hello, everyone. It's Neyman here from Dar es Salaam. Hello, I'm Martha Kachweka from Dar es Salaam. Hi, guys. It's Tusa from Dar es Salaam. Welcome, Tusa. Hello, everyone. Let's introduce ourselves. We have Tusa, IG and Instagram handle. We have Abdul from Dar es Salaam too. We have Jessica from Dar es Salaam too. Welcome, Jessica. Hello, it's Ramadan Abdullah from Zanzibar. Hello, Ramadan from Zanzibar. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, Ramadan. We have Irene Kijango from Tanga. We have Tatu Ahmed from Dar es Salaam. Nice connecting with you all. Welcome, Tatu. Welcome, everyone. Well, yes, thank you everyone for the introduction. I myself, I am Ali Momzola, the moderator of today's session on how we'll be discussing how has COVID-19 affected the youth in the decent work, but also employment. You can see that Corona have hit the whole world. Many people lost their jobs and employment. The economic, we can see also from the reports which have been given out, you can see that also the economic growth will be decreased for this period of COVID. So today we'll be seeing on how COVID has affected the decent work and employment for youth. I would like to welcome Mr. Kelvin Edward from UNA Tanzania, to give the opening remarks of today's sessions. Mr. Kelvin Edward from UNA, please welcome.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Kevin Edward. I'm currently Secretary General of UNA Tanzania. Thank you, everyone, for joining today's session and our topic, effect of COVID-19 in youth skills for decent work and employment. I want to take this opportunity to thanks to all speakers who joined today's session. Ms. Juanita Rogasila, Ms. Geladi Runyoro. Ms. Juanita Rogasila is from NMB, and Geladi Runyoro from UNIDO, Tanzania. Also, we are grateful today to have a guest from UNA Tanzania, Mr. Leonard Maida. So I want to take this opportunity to welcome you all and to participate full in our session today. So I will take this opportunity to welcome our special guest for opening remarks and brief presentation and discussion to Mr. Reinhard Maeda, Secretary General from United Nations Association Tanzania, UNA. Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Reinhard.
Oh, thank you, Kevin, for your welcoming remarks, and thank you for this honor. It's really always a pleasure to interact with young people. So I would like to recognize Juanita Regasira from NMB and Gerald Runyoro from UNIDO. Kevin, your team from UNA Tanzania, and young people from across Tanzania. Good afternoon. I'm supposed to speak a little bit about what UNA is and the relationship between UNA and UNA Tanzania, but I'm going to only take very few moments to explain that for those who don't know. UNA Tanzania means Youth of the United Nations Association of Tanzania. Contrary to the popular definition that UNA is Youth of the United Nations. UNA is Youth of the United Nations Association of Tanzania. This means UNA came from the United Nations Association of Tanzania, I think 20-21 years ago. But UNA Tanzania UNA Tanzania now has been around since 1964 in Tanzania, and we are a network. We are under a global network, which is called World Federation of United Nations Association, WAFUNA. For those who don't know, United Nations associations were started around the world to support the work of the United Nations in host countries. So currently we are in 72 countries. There's 72 countries that have United Nations associations. Tanzania is one of the very few countries, I think one of the only countries that has a UNA as a separate entity, which this happened, I think, as I said, 20 years ago, I think, where UNA became sort of a more autonomous entity from the UNA. We work with all groups of people as UNA. We work with policymakers. We work with young people. And when we work with young people, I think this is the interest group here. We collaborate with UNA Tanzania, but our work is more at a policy level engagements. So we engage with policymakers such as the members of parliament, ministries and ministers to advocate for policies that will lead to improvement of young people's livelihood. So currently we're working in a livelihood program that cuts across decision-making, youth and engagements in decision-making. So it's called Accelerating Young People Engagements in decision-making processes, but at the nucleus of it is livelihood, because as young people, like it or not, our primary concern in the first place is to make sure that we have a better life. So our focus is to make sure that our livelihood is improving. So, but how do you get into policies that make sure that young people, there's enabling environment in the country for young people to have a better life? So we encourage young people to take part in decision-making processes from, the lowest point to the highest point. So we work in 8 regions in Tanzania, including Zanzibar, that is Unguja and Pemba. And we work with 21 youth-based, youth-led organizations that work in these regions. What we do exactly, or what we've been able to do for the past 3 years, is first leading the process for the revision of the National Youth Development Policy of 2007. So the policy, policies have to be revised after every 10 years in a perfect setting. So the current youth policy is from 2007. That is many years ago. And from 2007 up to now, there has been so many developments that have happened, including the Sustainable Development Goals, which came about in 2015 September, and we started implementation in January of 2016. So we wanted all that to be reflected in the upcoming youth development policy, so that we've been engaging in that, and the policy is now current. We are also in the drafting team for the new policy. I can say now it's on the second phase, second draft, and because we're entering into election this year, I think that is on pause until we get until the elections are done and we get a new parliament. That's when we will resume the exercise, because now it has to go to the ministerial level for approval. So we've been doing that, but also much more in touch with today's topic is what we've been doing around the youth empowerment funds that are available in the government. So from ministries and youth, women, and people with disability empowerment funds that is at the district levels. So we're engaging with TAMISEMI to make sure that access to the 10% fund, that is 442. There's 4% for young people, 4% for women, and 2% for people with disability. And we want to make sure that more young people have access to this sort of a seed fund that is available at the district level. So for those who don't know, again, what this fund is, since 1993, this fund has been there, but it was not regulated. So in 2018, the 2018 Financial Act, made it mandatory for all district authorities in Tanzania to put aside 10% of its revenue to give seed funding for young people. It was 5% for young people, 5% for women in the first year, but then it was amended to say 442, and including people with disabilities, the 2%. So it's now 4% for young people, 4% for women, and 2% for people living with disability. So this is, it's available, it's readily available, it's mandatory for all district authorities to set aside 10% of their revenue, annual revenue, and to give seed funding to young people. So what we're doing around this is making sure that the law, regulations, and guidelines, are friendly for young people. There was no, because before it was not regulated, there was a lot of misunderstanding on how to handle the fund. So what we're working on with TAMISEMI currently is to make sure that the law, the regulations, and we're currently we're in the process of developing guidelines for the regulations and the law, and translating them into simpler and more, friendly language for both loan officers in district offices, youth loan officers in districts at the district offices, and also young people to understand how the funds work and how they can access these funds. But also there's, I think, 49 other funds. I'm not sure about that figure on top of my head, but there's more than 40 other funds that are readily available across ministry that young people can access. And more, the one that I'm 100% sure of is that the Prime Minister's Office, the Department of Youth, that is already there. It's more substantial than the one that is available at the district level. So we're working to making sure that all these funds that are available. First of all, there's more awareness for young people that there's these opportunities that are available. And also making sure that the conditions are friendly enough for more young people to access. What I know is that all of them do not have conditions for you to put security. For instance, the one at the district level is interest-free loan, so the difficulties were like you have to be a big group of more than 5 people. So we're in discussions to have these kinds of conditions, like you have to be in a group, be more flexible in order for more young people, and we understand the challenges of being in a group, because we've also done a study to look at the challenges they face in administering these funds. And you see that because you're required to be in a group of young people sit together and just decide, oh, let's go get this fund, but they don't have mutual interests. So they misappropriate the funds, and then they don't pay back the seed loans, and then the funds do not become sustainable. So we also want to ensure that these funds are sustainable. And this in relations to decent work and employment and COVID-19, for us, these kinds of funds are could also be used as stimulus packages for young people who are in businesses, because they're already there for young people. So for young people, for young entrepreneurs facing difficulties already in accessing funds, these kinds of funds are readily available to be streamlined into the youth businesses. So there are these kinds of mechanisms that are already there that could be used to help young people amid this COVID-19 issue. Just to wrap up, I'm going to go back to the topic, discussing effects of COVID-19 to young people and skills and decent work and employment. These discussions have been had before. Since March, these discussions have been emerging. So what I would like to see happening from this discussion today is I would like for you guys to be more solution-oriented when you're discussing this. Discuss more solutions. I think we all know somebody whose business has suffered. We all know people who have been, out of work during this time. We understand the magnitude of the devastation that has happened. But now, what do we do about it? So what I would wish for you guys to accomplish today is solutions. How do we move from here and, improve the situation of young people with regards to goal 8, decent work and employment, and those who have struggled during this time. So I would wish for you guys to focus on that and make sure you come up with solutions, recommendations. Ali and Kevin, we're also going to, the 5-year development plan 2 is now is going to phase out next year. We're preparing consultations for young people to give recommendations, for what has worked. And we've started this, and we're working with the Ministry of Finance, who are responsible for this, to make sure there's more voices of young people in the next plan. But these are kinds of things that if we have solutions and if we have concrete proposals of how to deal with these kinds of situations, we could submit this to the Ministry of Finance. So when they're preparing the next 5-year development plan, which will be the last one before 2025, we know that we contributed something concrete into it. So I would like to say that your session today is opened, and thank you again for Mr. Gerald Runyoro from UNIDO and Ms. Juanita Regasira from NMB for taking your time off your weekend to speak to young people. And Kevin and Ali and the entire UNA team, congratulations for, preparing these sessions. And I hope to speak to you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Reynald, Secretary General of United Nations Association, one of the oldest CSOs in Tanzania. Thank you. And all your recommendation into the topic will be taken. And I hope that after this discussion, we'll have something very concrete so that we can move with it with action. Thank you so much, Mr. Reynald. As we're moving on, we'd like to have our first poll. Our first poll toward the discussion, then we'll be welcoming Ms. Juanita. Please, from the technical team, can we have the first poll of our today's session? Yeah. So as you can see your poll, we need all of us to vote on this. The pandemic has made youth access to employment harder. Let's think of it. Does this pandemic has made youth access to employment become harder or easy? We have the agree and the disagree button on your screen. If you can see it, please, may you vote, then we can move on with the next one. I hope people are voting. You can see people, many of them voting. Thank you. The pandemic has made youth self-employment harder. As we can see, many youth have been affected by this pandemic. Many lost their employment, but the one who are facing many problems are the one who have self-employed. So we can really vote on it. That's the pandemic. Please welcome and vote. Yeah, thank you for voting. I can see people vote. Thank you. Can we please have the result of the poll? On the first one, we can see that the pandemic has made youth access to employment harder. 90%, 27 people voted with the agreement like yes, the pandemic has made youth access to employment become harder. And the second question, which was saying the pandemic has made youth employment harder. 70% people again agree that it is true. The pandemic had made people to access self-employment became much harder. I'd like to welcome Madam Juanita Regasira, Human Resource Center for Enterprise of Expertise from NMB. Please, Madam Juanita Regasira, welcome.
Hi, everyone. It's an honor and exciting moment for me to be speaking with all of you. I remember back in February or March, the bank was approached by Timuni, and to be specific, by Philemon, one of the coordinators, and they brought up this proposal to the bank that they're organizing a youth conference in Arusha, and they are looking forward to partnering with the bank. And with no doubt, immediately, I told Philemon, this is definitely, we will be very interested. So we were very looking forward to meeting a lot of you in Arusha and just to share a lot of things that affect you guys as youth. But well, COVID-19 hit us and that conference could not be held. But thanks to technology, today we are able to speak, to interact, and I'm really looking forward to this interaction. As I've been introduced by Ali, I'm Juanita, but you can call me Jo. Everybody calls me Jo. I work at NMB Bank and I oversee a department in HR called Center of Expertise. Many times people ask me, Center of Expertise, what do you guys do? But amongst many things, we oversee learning and talent development. And you can imagine with NMB being the biggest bank in Tanzania with almost 3,500 employees. So being, taking part in developing all these people, including the millennials. We have a number of millennials at our bank. It's quite an interesting role. So thank you so much again for this privilege. I was really impressed to hear a lot about UNA from Mr. Maeda. Very impressed with an amazing job that they're doing. And I hope really after this discussion, we will be able to put up some proposals that we can see really that, yes, we know COVID-19 has somehow affected you guys, but following this discussion today, I hope we can really put up some proposals as Maeda mentioned, that we can send out there and really make things better and easier. I love learning, and most of the time I tell people when I'm asked to talk, especially with young stars, I honestly end up learning myself. And as you can see today, I have my notebook here, I've got my pen, and ready to really learn from you guys. I don't know how much you guys know about reverse mentorship, and I'm actually activating reverse mentorship today. So going straight to the point, I was asked today to talk about, in brief, to talk about what NMB is dealing with in relation to the outbreak of COVID-19, how this has affected the youth skills for decent work and employment, and what can be done by the youth to make things better. So I think Reynard made a very valid point. These discussions have been going on for quite some time. And so I will not talk more into, how COVID-19 has affected. And it's very important that we talk more today on what can be done. But in brief, so immediately after the first COVID-19 case in Tanzania, immediately after the news went out there, the bank immediately started implementing all the measures, the precautions that the government has been talking about, including ensuring that every key point at the bank, including the entrances, have the sanitizers, for the staff and customers. Everyone has to be wearing, protective masks and maintaining social distance. But further, what we did as a bank was to, first of all, we had to ensure that there's business continuity, of course, and but making sure that our staff and our customers' health and safety obviously is top priority. We initiated one of our business continuity measures where we grouped our staff into 3 groups, where we had some of the staff still working in the offices, from the offices, but maintaining social distance. But also we had a significant number of employees who have been working from home. And we also have our designated areas in case of emergencies or disasters, where also employees can sit there and work from there and maintain service, maintain productivity, maintain customer excellence. So immediately these were the first measures that were taken. At the bank, we have an exciting program that is called Management Trainee Program. I know a number of organizations in Tanzania and in the world have these programs. Some are called graduate trainee programs, but we call our program as Management Trainee Program. And the uniqueness about this program and why it's quite important that I mention is our program is unique because it is designed to fast track young people careers. When they enter this 2-year program, you come in as a fresh graduate, and we actually go through a thorough onboarding or recruitment process to select the best of the best from top universities locally and also outside of Tanzania. So we've designed the program in such a way that it's not just about learning, but it's more on really, as you enter and then during the program, you already, see the direction of your career. And why am I saying fast tracking your career? I'm talking to you, youth. It's because we've designed the program in such a way that these youngsters grow eventually after the 2-year program, they grow to middle management levels. And not many organizations actually do this. Now, we were launching our 2020-2022 trainee program, and we were busy with the preparations for, the launch. And guess what? COVID-19 came up. So we were affected because the preparations for the program, and the program normally start in October. So the preparations include holding career fairs, talking to different youth, talk about the program, and then later on start the recruitment process. So you can imagine with all the measures in place, maintaining social distance, avoiding gatherings. So we couldn't hold our career fairs. We couldn't travel to other countries to talk with the diaspora. So we were really affected, and everybody was looking forward to this. I'm personally, anybody who knows me know how passionate about young talent and development. So we had to sit, and really decide and take a step back and see, okay, what can be done. But luckily now, with according to the government, the cases in Tanzania have gone down. And now things are really starting getting back to normal. So we hope we can still now, although time has really gone, we hope we can still go ahead with the preparations and travel locally and talk to young people about this program. But also we've partnered with TAESA, which is Tanzania Employment Services Agency, and the Prime Minister's ministry. And through this program, we work together in designing an internship program. I believe many of you know what internship is. So we have onboarded a number of graduates into the program. This program is, between 3 to 6 months. But the other one, the management trainee program that I was talking about, is a 2-year program. So we had onboarded these youngsters, and they're in different departments, learning, working together with the line managers. And then when COVID-19 hit us and we had to implement the measures that I mentioned earlier, including having a significant number of NMB staff working from home, obviously the learning was quite affected, because the way it happens is, you have these young people attached to, someone in the department, a line manager, to take them through what they do and learn. So in many, it was highly affected because, a very few number of employees remained in the offices, and to be specific, at the head office. So we had to, to let a number of these interns, go back home and, find a way for them to learn. But it was quite interesting because actually some of them were very, very creative, and I was quite impressed. We had one of the youngsters working in the customer experience department, and, she said, okay, I'll be working from home for sure. But she came up with a very creative idea. She said, what I can still be useful by, following up on the social media on what, what our customers are saying, on NMB platforms and all that. So yes, this program was also affected, but we found means to continue providing the learning experience to these young people. We had meetings with the relevant respective departments, and we agreed, okay, so these guys can start rotating perhaps, instead of just staying at home for the whole period. And unfortunately, at that time, we were not sure, how long will this pandemic, or will this, the new normal, how long will it take? So we had arrangements to have them at least come for 2 days, for 3 days in a week, to continue with the learning. So in terms of, what as a bank, what we are doing with, helping the youth to upskill, it's really this. But it's very important to understand that the problem of unemployment, and specifically to the youth, of course, did not start today. It didn't start when COVID-19 started. It's been there. It's been there when you read you read the research, when you read the data. It has always been there. And I've always, whenever I get a chance to talk to young people like today, I always remind them to prepare for the future. We hear things about artificial intelligence. Yes, perhaps we are not there yet, but who thought that majority of organizations today in Tanzania would let, their employees staying at home, working from home, accessing these fancy technologies like Zoom, Microsoft Teams. So it's really helping us, to see where we should be heading. My advice to the youth has always been that prepare for the future. We talk about the future of work, but I really believe that actually the future of work is actually at our doorstep. It's here. But what can you do? We are seeing the effects now of COVID-19, but I know we will keep seeing these effects because employment has been further affected. And, in response to COVID-19, employees and especially young people are really looking at ways of seeking employment. We recently advertised for some of the roles, and you can see the number of applications. And as I said, I have this opportunity to, you know, to work or to have these data when it comes to employment. So you advertise a role today, and you can see the amount of applications that come in, especially for the young people. So my advice, you know, before I chip in my points on what can be done, but my advice to you guys, my advice to the youth and whoever who is listening, is we really have to remain very flexible. You know, there's a tendency of people remaining in their box, you know, being comfortable in their zones and not really thinking outside of the box. But guess what? COVID-19 has really forced us, and not just young people, but also some of us who have been in employment for quite some time. So we really have to be very flexible, very agile. You know, agility is something that is talked about now. You know, more and more we keep hearing about agility. You know, be creative, be innovative. In fact, I tell you, for now, we don't have a choice. We really don't have a choice. If you really want to, if you want to ensure that, you know, you go up there as far as your career is concerned, you really do not have a choice. You have to invest in innovative skills. You have to be creative. You need to learn new skills which are in demand, you know, including digital related skills. Analytics, you know, is everything now. And importantly, you should rely more on networking. And I'm glad you guys, you know, Timun and Yuna are organizing these webinars. They're very important. Networking is key, you know, and there are so many free webinars out there, you know, that talk about, you know, a number of things, including what we're talking today, but also tips on how you can develop, you know, in terms of your skills. So it's very important to network. Do not be shy, you know. Do not be shy approaching someone, you know, talk about what is going on out there. You will definitely learn a thing or two. So networking is very important. And you need to ensure that you prepare yourself, you know, for what is coming, you know, and again, I say the future of work. And one task that I would like for you guys to do after today is really research on the competencies for the future. We know the competencies for now. I've mentioned about, you know, being, you know, learning about the digital area, analytics, you know, but it's very important now to learn about the competencies for now. I've been working on a number of projects, you know, designing competency frameworks and all that. But at some point I said, actually, you know, we need now to start focusing on the competence for the future. Today we were affected by COVID-19, but who knows what is going to come in a very near future. So it's really important to keep, you know, to keep learning and really identifying, you know, what are the competencies that will be required, and especially for you guys. What are the competencies that will be required for the future? What does the future hold, you know? And to do all this, what I've said, you need to self-learn. You need to keep learning. You need to keep learning. And of course, now you guys have an opportunity of using the technology. Back in those years, you know, sitting in front of your laptop, you know, Googling, reading research and all that, it wasn't that easy. You know, the technology was not there, but you guys now have amazing opportunities. You know, as I said, there are so many free webinars out there. So keep learning, and also on soft skills. We keep talking about, you know, skills, you know, analytics and all that, but don't forget about the soft skills, you know, leadership, you know, communication, presentation, these emotional intelligence. These are all important soft skills that you really need to learn. And also, it's important to there are things that we need to unlearn. Yeah. Yes, it's one thing to learn about new things and things that will help you, but also it's also important to identify those things that you need to unlearn. You know, I am myself, I've been working for quite some time. Yes, but now I realize, okay, so there are some things that I actually need to let go, leave behind. You know, I talked about when I was starting to, when I began talking, I said reverse mentorship. I don't know how many of you who understand reverse mentorship, you know, but I was talking to someone last week, and they said, you know what, you can actually, me as Joe, I can actually have a young person mentoring me, you know, in some areas that I'm not that good at, you know, talk about technology and all that. So some of the things that, just to wind up, and when I'm given an opportunity to talk with youngsters, trust me, I can talk forever. You'll probably have to end up muting me at some point. But just to wrap up, what I think now we should do now as employers, I hope there are some employers who are listening to me now. You know, I've talked about what you guys, what young people, what you should do, you know, but we need coordinated effort as employers, you know, to create jobs, you know, including what I've said, management trainee programs. And not just, we should not let the management trainee programs or graduate trainee programs, it has to be, you know, an exercise of ticking a box. Yeah, I've onboarded 5, 10 trainees. We go through the process, 2 years, 3 years, and that's it. No. We need to ensure that we really, really invest in fast tracking these young people career. You know, introducing a fixed term contract for youngsters. It's also very important. You know, when you sign a fixed term contract and you know, you're given your specific task that you're supposed to be doing. The idea of, oh my God, this contract will be ending after 1 year, this contract will be ending after 6 years, you know, that will drive you into working better, into performing better. So that, guess what, after 1 year, after 2 years, you know, my contract can be renewed. But I really have to comment on what also the government is doing. Specifically in the area of youth employment, as I've mentioned earlier, many organizations have partnered with Tanzania Employment Services Agency. So a number of organizations, they need to come up, you know, and partner with the government. I have access to talking to, I'm able to talk to the coordinators and the supervisors of TAESA, you know, and they share with me, you know, that, Joe, we have a platform, a huge platform of the interns. We have a number of interns who are still out there, who have not been assigned, you know, where to practice, where to conduct their internship program. So there's so many out there, you know. Today, NMB has onboarded XY number of graduates, you know, another bank, another organization. Imagine if collaboratively, all of us could do this. You can imagine what this will do. But most importantly, I mentioned on, you know, youngsters, keep learning on soft skills, you know, get to know the competencies for the future. But universities and colleges also have a very, very important role to play, you know, in equipping students with practical, imperative knowledge for getting them ready for the job market out there. It's time now.
Thank you. Let's wind up in 1 minute.
It's time now we move from the traditional way of learning and really, really now capitalize more on the technology. So that's it from me. I told you at some point you will have to mute me, and it happened. So yeah, that's it from me, and looking forward to hearing more from the rest of the speakers. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, and do not left the conversation. There are more questions for you, but we'd like to congratulate you and NMB for taking many efforts and on fighting COVID. You can see how you care for your customers by taking safety measures, working from home. But also you talk about the NMB trainee program, but you say we would like to launch it in October. We're also expecting us to do more during that time. Maybe if we get a chance also of you coming to Arusha and speaking to youth about this training program, because we're having many students or university students who will be graduating. The third-year students, or many of them are graduating. So we'd like to have you in Arusha also, speaking to them on how they can enroll themselves and get to utilize this opportunity. You showed us on how NMB are creative on the social media. As you can see, we're just asking a question on social media about certain services you're getting. I would like to argue my fellow youth also to be creative during this time. There are many opportunities which has been created by this pandemic. So let's utilize it in general. But also the soft skills, I think many youth right now, we are missing the soft skills. You might know something, but if you're missing the soft skills, leadership, communication, you'll be left out. So we'd like to argue my fellow youth to get to learn these soft skills because they're the key. And learning things which have been passed, because many things have been passed. What you are taught in the school are just many of the things which have also been passed. So let's learn and get to know many things. Thank you, Madam Juanita, and please do not leave. There are so many questions coming toward you. As we're going to our second speaker, can we please have a poll and a little video from the team? Thank you so much. Let's keep in touch. Yeah, such a beautiful video of TMO 2018 in Treasury Square, Dodoma. We're also expecting more of that in Arusha and TMO 2020. So as we are going to the second speaker of today, we can all vote for the second poll, which will be shown on the screen right away. Please, everyone, let's vote on the poll. The question says, youth with small-scale enterprise have been largely affected by the pandemic. Is it true or not? Let's vote for that. Do you agree or disagree that the youth with small-scale enterprise has been largely affected by this pandemic? Everyone, let's vote and you can see the result. You can see a number of people voting. Thank you. Can you please show the results of the poll? Ooh, 93% of people agree that youth and small-scale enterprise has been largely affected by the pandemic. As we're welcoming our second speaker, I would like to remind a few things from the publicity team of what they're saying. They're telling you that you should take a screenshot or a selfie while you are on the session, post it on your page, which is Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, and tag with hashtag TM2020. Hashtag visual TM2020, and we'll feature you after taking a screenshot and posting it on your social media. With those hashtags, we'll feature you on our pages, and the one who will be announced by the winner will be announced later. So it is a combination, guys. Make sure you take a selfie and post it on our social medias, tagging us with the hashtag and then later on we'll announce the winner. I would like to welcome the second speaker of today. I would like to welcome Mr. Gerald Runyono, National Program Officer from UNIDO. Please, Mr. Gerald, welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody, and it's a pleasure to be with you this afternoon, discussing on the effect of COVID on the youth employment. As I have been introduced, my name is Gerald Runyoro. I work for UNIDO as a National Program Officer. UNIDO is one of the UN agencies which is dealing with or mandated to promote industrial development, mainly in the developing countries. It works on a number of areas, but basically on energy and environment, on industrial promotion, which involves manufacturing, trade, and so, in order to promote prosperity. It has a number of cross-cutting areas where it works, including gender, youth, environment, and so and so. In that sense, I would also like to join the moderator, Mr. Maeda, for the good introduction he gave, as well as Madame Ragasira on the brief he provided regarding NMB and the advices he has given to the youth. Myself, I have been asked or requested to cover three main areas. One, which is the youth skills in relation to industrial sector. The second is how they have been affected by COVID. I think this is the industrial sector, and how will they overcome the effects. But before I go into that, I would like to make a few highlights that youth is a bit, has a number of definitions used by different people. But as far as the UN is concerned, it's normally the age of 15 to 24. And as for Tanzania, it's normally refers to the age of 15 to 35. So somebody might feel that is falling in this category or not, but at least those are the main definitions in relation to age. And also decent work is defined differently by different people, but I think the main pillars are a fair income from the employment, security in the workplace and social protection for families, as well as better prospects for personal development, meaning that one is not expected to stay at that level, but rather to grow up the ladder as he or she continue working. I thought that it is also important to mention why youth skills for decent work is important and the employment is important. This is because the youth make the largest proportion of the population in employment. For example, if we look at the integrated labor force survey for Tanzania done in 2014, about 55% of the employed population were youth, falling in the age categories of 15 to 24, that is about 31%, and 25 to 34 years, that is about 24%. That makes a total of 55. The age of 35 to 64 was contributing something like 38%, and the remaining 70% is above 65. So we can see how important is this group of people is to the labor force. I also want to mention on how maybe COVID has affected the youth skills development. It's in a number of ways, which the majority of us already know, as Eda mentioned, but first of all, the closure of schools and institutes, training institutes, definitely has resulted into loss of time for both students as well as the trainers. And then there is a number of outcomes which were, of course, unintended, but nevertheless, they have occurred. For example, particularly for young girls, we have heard about, for example, unplanned pregnancies, which means that this has somehow sent them out of the formal schooling process. As far as businesses are concerned, business of different types, there has been a slowdown, there has been closures, as well as the laying of workers. That includes jobs for the young generation, as well as internship opportunities. But also it has reduced the employment opportunities for students who are expected to graduate soon, because the employers or the enterprises might take time to recover and come to normal. Another area which might have affected the skills development is on the loss of labor force. We, according to the information we have, is that older persons are more vulnerable than the youth. Nevertheless, among those who have suffered or succumbed from the disease includes employees, trainers, students, lecturers, teachers, and so and so. So this is a very big loss to the labor force, which governments depend on their social and economic development. Coming to the industrial sector, it also depends on one defines it, but generally we can talk about manufacturing, we can talk about processing, we can talk about assembling. As far as the industrial sector in Tanzania is concerned, manufacturing contributes about 53%, processing about 43%, and assembling about 4%. Now, the pandemic, COVID, has affected the industrial sector in a number of ways, which has resulted into the consequences I have mentioned, which include closures of business, layoff of workers, slowdown of businesses. But generally, the major reasons are associated to reduce the access to raw materials. As the majority of us know, but the bulk of raw materials used in the industrial processes are imported. and especially from countries like China, like India, where China is where the disease started, and we all heard about the measures which the government's taken to control it, including closures of business, including the transport sector, where some of the operations were closed down. That included even the transportation of raw materials from the supplying countries to Tanzania, meaning that due to lack of raw materials, then industrial processes were definitely affected. But another area where the industrial sector has been affected is in terms of access to markets. Whoever produces, the intention is to maybe consume by himself or herself a little bit of the amount, but the rest is sold at different markets locally or in the neighboring countries or internationally. Now, as we all know, due to the COVID-19, some borders were closed, even in the neighboring countries. We have heard about the challenges of crossing borders from one country to another, particularly from Tanzania to the 8 countries which is neighboring us. It has been a very big challenge. Now, what is being produced, it's not necessarily that has to be consumed on the local market, but even on the local market, due to some measures and these effects which I have mentioned, the markets have also been a bit reduced. Some of the people who have lost their employment and income, it means that the disposable income they have to spend on some consumables has reduced. So generally the markets have been affected. But also some of the manufacturers, they produce with a plan of disposing whatever they produce immediately. Now, with the challenges of delivering their products to market, then they have suffered problems of storage, which they never prepared for. Consequently, most of the producers, processors have lost revenue. As measures of overcoming such challenges, this is what has resulted into closing business, into laying off workers, and so and so. But also in some situations, the workers have been retained, but paying their dues and rights has been a bit of a challenge because of the affected cash flow of the enterprises. So these are some of the negative consequences. But there is also a positive side where the occurrence of the pandemic has been a kind of a wake-up call that high dependence on imports might not be helpful to us. As such, some of the innovators have taken that opportunity to venture into production, into maybe, I would say, venturing into new lines of business where they were not involved before. I would like to take an example of the production of hand sanitizers, where in most cases before the pandemic, we were importing them. But as a result of COVID, some of the producers or manufacturers have started to manufacture and produce hand sanitizers, which have now penetrated the local market and even outside Tanzania. But also there has been upscaling on in some areas. For example, Madam Rogasira mentioned about ITC. I think the use of ITC has now gone up a bit, unlike how it was before the pandemic. I think it is only from the beginning of the pandemic that even myself started participating more. I mean, participated more in these virtual meetings and the platforms. meaning that there are some segments of the people who have taken advantage of this and tried to help in ensuring that communication and work does not stop, but people will continue to communicate, to meet, and so exchange information and skills and experiences. So this is another area where the pandemic has made the public kind of wake up and invest more in these areas. But also in terms of working the enterprises, for example, if you take the question of social distancing, some of the enterprises have been able to increase the number of shifts of working. For example, if an enterprise has maybe 20 employees who were all working in one rotation, some of the enterprises, they have now increased the number of rotations so that half of the employees can work for maybe 10 hours or 8 hours, then another shift comes in, which was not the case previously. Although it possibly have added on their costs of production, nevertheless, it is
Thank you, Mr. Gerald. Can you...
Hello. Yeah, now.
Yes, we can hear you. Can you please wind up for that?
Yeah, now maybe to wind up is I'd like to mention that as Madame Rogasira mentioned, there is need to come up with measures for resilience and recovery, where the UN is also working in that area to support SMEs to overcome and recover from the pandemic. But also an area where we are thinking of working, where we worked in before, is we have the internship programs and the apprenticeship programs, where we think that it is time now to scale them up so that the young graduates can get access to workplace skills. Madam Rogasia talked about the soft skills. They can be also accessed through internship and the apprenticeship. But also another thing is to support the training institutions to upscale entrepreneurship programs, as well as supporting the TVET, so that at least the time which was lost during the pandemic or during the closure can be recovered so that they come back to normal. Due to time, maybe I end there. So in brief, this is what I would have likely talk about. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Gerald. We can see of speaking about many things on how the fair income has changed. Many SME lost their revenue, but also there have been new opportunities like the business of hand sanitizers and masks. We can see that many people started these businesses and it has been able to pay well, but also the measures has to be taken. The very concrete measures has to be taken by everyone in this, by every shareholder in this one, the government, the SMEs, the young people have to take some measures for this to overcome this thing. So before going to the question and answer session, please prepare your question. I know you have a lot of questions to ask. Please prepare your questions. But before that, we'd like to have something here from the technical team. Please welcome, have a little game as an icebreaker during the session so that we can refresh ourselves before going to the question and answer. Please welcome.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Nice, amazing. So thank you very much, moderator. It was a very nice and engaging session, and thank you very much, panelists. So right now it's time for us, all delegates, to have some few minutes engaging. So it's simple. We'll be having a game for less than 10 minutes, and usually, as what Madam Joanita said, we need to be very creative and we need to think beyond, and we need to find some very interesting talents. And I think this is one among the talent, because you're going to play games, so you're going to boost your knowledge and capacity of thinking. So it's simple. So I am sharing a message in the chat box. I need you guys to go and read the message. It's simple. You just need to go on the website, which is www.kahot.it. Then after opening that website, you need to place a play game. Then you enter that pin. And here I'll be, the website showing me how many people are joining. So we'll be having this in 5 minutes. So just go to the website and then enter that pin, and then we'll be entering in the challenge. And we want to see the winners. Youth, we are always active. And from the session today, you want to see how many people will have this kind of talent, the talent of being active and being creative. Yeah, so yeah, I want to see you guys joining. Let me see if people are already joining. Okay, we have Tita. Okay, we have one player, we have Madam Eva. Okay, guys, let's join. First, we have 5 minutes. So far we have 4 minutes, and yeah, we have Mbogi. Oh, guys, let's join. Guys, let's join. Yeah, I need to see you guys join. So far we have 3 players and we are so many here. So guys, I think we need to join. We have Martin. Yeah, let's join, guys. Amazing. People are joining. So why are you leaving behind? Guys, let's join. We have, so far we have 3 minutes left. Yeah, so just go to the www.kahot.it, then enter the pin. Yeah, the website is showing me how many people are joining so far. And I've already shared the, pin. Amazing. Yeah, people are joining so far. Yeah, we have how many people? We have 1, 2, 3, 8. We have 8 people so far. Guys, we need a lot of members. Thank you. People are joining. Welcome, Rashid. We have Rama, we have Boogie. Guys, you can put any. You can put your nickname or you can put your name. Because if you put your real name, we'll see who is the loser and who is the winner at the end of the day. So yeah, we need people to join. Join, guys. We have 10 players so far. Amazing. Welcome, Jojo. Amazing. We want to see the winner. We need to be very active and very creative. The game is very simple. The questions are very easy. And at the end of the day, we want to see the winner. The winner for TIM on Virtual Session 2020. Welcome, guys. Amazing. We have 12 players right now. Guys, you have 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left, then we'll proceed with the game. So make sure you join. We need more players, guys. At least 40 players of all of us here. Amazing. Welcome, guys. Yeah, join. Yeah, we have almost 41 players. And so far we have, amazing, we have 15 players so far. We have 16 players. Amazing. Amazing. Let's join, guys. We have 16 players so far. Amazing. Welcome. Okay. We have 16. So we have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Amazing. We have 1 minute left. 1 minute to go for those who were preparing, checking their networks. Yeah, we have 1 minute to go and we are going to start our game. 1 minute to go. Amazing. We have Moto. Amazing. So we have 1. Okay, we are soon going to start, and let's now, let me share. Let me share the screen. Oh, wow. Okay, amazing. Okay, so we are going to start our game right now. Okay, we have a lot of prayers. Great guys for all of those who have joined. So our game will allow people to join on the process. So if you are figuring out how to join, you can proceed joining. And now we have almost 20 players. Thank you guys, and we are going to start our game. So I'm going to share my screen so we can see what is going on here. Yeah. And so I'm waiting for the host to allow me, but so far we are going to start. So I'm counting 5 to 5, then we are going to start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Amazing. Are you ready? So I hope you guys will see the first question, and the quiz is starting. So the first question is, who was the 44th president of USA? Who was the 44th president of United States of America? We have 9 seconds left. Who was? Okay, who was the 44th president? Okay, I'll be okay, sorry guys. I'll be explaining the answers, and you need to choose the red. I mean, you need to choose from the colors. So if I would like from this question, if I asked who was the 40th president of USA, so maybe Barack Obama, I will mention the color. Maybe red for Barack Obama, blue for Donald Trump, then yellow for George Bush, and green for Bill Clinton. So you need to choose the color. And purpose of this game, you need to be very active and you need to listen very, very well. So we are going on our next question, and kindly listen in my answer. So the next question is, truth or false, Mandela had 3 wives, Graca, Michael, and Winnie Mandela, and Betty Cephalosha. Truth or false? True, blue for true and red for false. Blue for true and red for false. Blue for truth and red for false. Amazing. Okay, we have 12 people who, yeah, we have losers as well. So thank you for those who answered. Now the question is, okay, the question is false. Mandela had 3 wives, yes, but the last name is not Mandela's wife, is wife of the other president of South Africa, but not Mandela. So yeah, okay, we are seeing our scoreboard now. The winner is JJ. We are still writing. And the third question is, which is the largest island in Africa? Red for Zanzibar, blue for Madagascar, yellow for Nile, and green for Seychelles. Which is the largest island in Africa? Red for Zanzibar and blue for Madagascar, Nile and Seychelles. Amazing. Nice. You have 12 people. Everyone who answered this question, they get it right. It is Madagascar, it's the largest island in Africa. Wow, I see some people wrote Zanzibar. Amazing. So, okay, Tita is going up. And the fourth question is, where is Suez Canal found? Where is Suez Canal found? Red for Algeria, blue for Turkey, yellow for Egypt, and green for India. Wow, this question. Okay, this question, many people they're trying to answer. Okay, I have 19 answers here. Amazing. Some people answered Algeria. Wow. So it is Egypt. Suez Canal is found in Egypt. Okay, our fifth question is, how many landlocked countries are there in Africa? How many landlocked countries are in Africa? Red is 16, blue is 36, yellow is 2, and green is 0. Red is 16 and blue is 36, yellow is 2 and green is 0. Okay, amazing, people answering very fast. Okay, 7 people answered right. There are 16 landlocked countries. I don't know if you guys know what landlocked countries means. Okay, thank you very much, guys. And because of the time and to end here, maybe probably if you have time later, we'll proceed with the game. But so far, let me check who is the winner so far. Okay, we have someone who called EMZ. I don't know who is he. Maybe you can type, who are you? EMZ. Yeah, he's the first runner. And then we have Momzora, JJ, Jojo B, and Dua. These are 5 top lists. Okay, thank you guys. And we'll proceed later if you have time.
What a nice game, what a nice game. I'm in the top 5, guys. Congratulations to me. So we're going to the question and answer session. You can see people have raised their hands. We have Zabib, we have Martin, we have Rajab, we have Veronica, and Lauren. Please, Zabib, welcome to ask your question. You'll be followed by Martin Mamkonda, then Rajab, Veronica, and Lauren. Zabib, welcome to ask your question. I think Zabibu is out of network. Martin Momkonda, please welcome for your question.
Okay, can you hear me?
Martin Momkonda, welcome for your question.
Can you hear me now?
Zabibu, welcome.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here. My questions are, I have 2 questions, so I will tell you fastly. So the first one is, as per the Sustainable Developmental Goals of the United Nations, what things are planned to improve or support the African uses in the case of implementing the solutions for the employment problems that we face right now, and what are the plans after the pandemic? Not right now, but after the pandemic, what have plans towards that as well, towards the inclusiveness of disabilities as well, to the employment goals. And the second question is, there are lots of organizations that I've heard who are engaged in helping the youth, empowerment, and a lot, including the Save the Children, NAPAD, International Labour Organization, the United Nations, and aligned with the Timoon or the UNA. So the uses in case of entrepreneurship as well, and making sure to implement to help you this on who have like their own proposals and projects that they have on hand. So do they have a solid plan for this to help you this on these areas? Thank you so much.
Zabib from Ethiopia, the question for you directly to, is it Mr. Gerald or welcome the speakers, Joe and Gerald, for the question.
Hi, I think initially, sorry, I can't remember the name of the person who asked the question, but I think initially she pointed out that she'd like to, to hear more on the response from the UN. So, but if I say, one thing or two from the side of what NMB is going to do. And as I mentioned earlier, on my advice to the youth in terms of learning the new skills, the competencies for the future. So as a bank, we are supporting our youth in that way. We've actually been forced now to, the situation, the pandemic has forced us to actually relook at our curriculum. We have an amazing online learning management platform where our staff can actually, log in and learn online different number of courses. So we are relooking at our different curriculums in order to, to respond to the current situation as far as new skills, new competencies are concerned. So from our side, that is what we've been doing.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Basically, UN recognizes the importance of youth development, including on skills, and the UN has a number of programs which is supporting. But maybe I should bring it up that several people think that the UN is a donor, which is not correct, because the UN is not a donor, but works with a number of other institutions to support different programs. And when the program has been formulated, then UN approaches different donors for funding. Nevertheless, there is a number of existing programs. For example, ILO has a youth employment program. FAO has a national strategy for youth employment program in agriculture. There is a youth employment network, UN Intelligence Network on Youth. UN and FAO recently launched a flagship initiative to accelerate youth employment in agriculture and agribusiness in Africa. So there is a number of initiatives which the UN has to support youth development. I cannot go in the details now, but possibly later I can provide some of the links on these programs. Thank you very much. And as I have mentioned, for example, I mentioned during the presentation about the internship and the apprenticeship. These are also being implemented in Tanzania in collaboration with the Prime Minister's office by 2 or 3 UN agencies. Thank you. I think I have covered the question, though briefly.
Thank you. Thank you so much, our speakers. We hope your question has been answered. Can you please welcome Martin Mkonda from China to ask their question? Please, Martin, welcome for your question.
Hi everyone, my good name is Martin Mkonda, as Ali said, and greetings from this side. I'm going to ask a question and to stress on the following matter as well. I'm not sure if Mr. Gerard, I'm not sure if my question is the same to the previous person who asked the question, but I'm going to ask anyway. During a presentation, you spoke about imports and SMEs and the importance of the effects of COVID-19. You guys realized that it's about time Tanzania we start producing our own products. What strategies do you guys have in line already as your organization? What strategies do you guys have in line to make sure, particularly this group of youth who want to enter in manufacturing businesses are favored in those conditions? And my second question, it's not a question, rather a request and a matter to stress upon, as I said earlier. The second speaker spoke about proposals and everything. Is it okay for you, ma'am, to share your details as well? Because I'm pretty sure I'm not speaking for myself only, but there are a number of people who have ideas already in mind and they're putting it into play, but they're just looking for suitable donors and contributions from favorable investors like you. And another matter that I would like to stress upon is the second speaker, Madam, spoke about getting out of your box. I think it's important next time when we say the box, we say what's in the box, because we've been hearing these words from quite some time now, but we usually just leave it out there as the box. But for the next session, maybe if it to be next week or something, it's important to stress what's in the box particularly. Thank you so much, and I'm done.
Thank you, Martin. Speakers, can you please answer the question for not more than 1 minute? Thank you.
Oh, Michael, Martin, all the way from China. I really, really liked your question, then specifically the last one, that we keep talking about, thinking outside the box, thinking outside your comfort zone, but what is in the box? But as you've pointed out, the time is very limited. So I hope we can get time to talk about this at another session. But on the question on, for those young stars, young people who are interested in becoming SMEs, at our bank, we have a program called Wajibu program, and this is mainly focusing on the youth financial literacy. So it's a huge program, and obviously, if I had time, I would have loved to talk more about it. But it's a financial inclusion program where we educate young people on financial literacy, how to manage your funds, how to save, and a number of things. I like that you've mentioned it, because yes, we might be talking about employment, which is good, but also we also have to, skills, entrepreneurship skills are really, really also important. So unfortunately, the time is very short and we're limited. But yes, as from our side, we have a Wajibu program, which aims at providing financial literacy for young people. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, on my part, I would
welcome.
like to mention that we work with the government as well as the private sector in promoting industrial development. For the private sector, for example, we work with the Tanzania Private Sector Foundation. We work with the Confederation of Tanzania Industries, but also in government, we work with many ministries, including the Ministry of Industry and Trade, as well as the same ministry in Zanzibar. Now, quite often what happens is, as I mentioned, we are not donors, but we develop projects and programs, then request for donor financing. At the moment, what we are doing is we are collaborating with the Tanzania Confederation of Tanzania Industries to exactly determine the extent of the effect of COVID on SMEs and on what can be done. We have not come up with exactly what needs to be done, but there is already information. For example, on the raw materials, which we mentioned, the CTI is also trying to identify who is interested in manufacturing, what kind of raw materials, what are the investment costs required. At the end of the day, the investors approaches donors to mobilize the investment resources required. So at the moment, I can only say that we are supporting in that way. We don't have a ready-made answer or solution. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The one who asked him question, can you please just let us limit the questions. Rajab, welcome, followed by Veronica. Rajab, welcome. Let's keep it short.
Okay, good afternoon. I am Rajab Saidin Pilipili, and I'm also an unsighted, and I am representing persons with disabilities. I have one question and the advice. The question is about the programs which has been spoken by Madam Jo. How such programs are inclusive, making sure that persons with disabilities are given the specific and need priorities, making sure that they enjoy and they do learn and benefit from such programs. And this also is going to Madam, to Mr. Gerard also. And what I would like to advise also is about investing on the assistive technology to especially to persons living with disabilities, because persons with disabilities have in one way or another left out in this race of learning and adapting the technology. So I do advise NIDO, UNIDO, and NMB to see how, plus UNA, to see how they can invest in the development and introduction of youth or young people with disabilities into assistive technology, so that they can cope with the environment and also being able to utilize effectively the skills and the technology for the development of themselves, but also the country. Thank you.
Rajab, I would like to also welcome Veronica to ask her question too, so that our speakers can answer to both of them. Veronica, please welcome for your question.
Thank you. Hi, guys. Okay, I'd like to ask the question to Mr. Gerard. He said that they allow the young people, young graduates, to intern. How can young graduates apply to intern?
Thank you. The question is very clear. How can young graduates apply for the internship program? Please welcome our speakers to answer the question of Mr. Rajab and Veronica in a short way and brief. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe I start with Mr. Rajab's question that in UN, we believe in leaving no one behind, meaning that all the programs and the projects we implement are inclusive. I would give an example of a current situation where UNIDO has already identified a group of people who have living with a disability of vision, who are based at the Sabasaba ground. We are in the process of engaging them to produce masks. It is a group of tailors. This is one example of the leaving no one behind. But in most of the programs which we do, not only UNIDO, but in most of the UN agencies, it's one of the programming principles. And we very much look for opportunities to work with them. As regards to Veronica's question, I would like to mention that as far as UNIDO and most of the UN agencies, if you visit their websites, you'll find that there are provisions of jobs as well as internship opportunities. I mentioned about the internship program which we were implementing in Tanzania. It ended something like 2 years ago, but we are in the process of reviving it, and we are in the process of looking for partners, particularly donors, because it involves some significant amount of money. But otherwise, we were implementing it with the Prime Minister's office, and the Prime Minister's office is currently following up on what we did jointly together in the past 2 years. Thank you.
Madam Jo, welcome.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you, Rajab, for your very, very good and important question. First of all, I would like to mention and emphasize that NMB is an equal opportunity employer. You know, so we hire, or we hire based on people, skills, competencies, experience, and all that. We are an equal opportunity employer. But last year in 2019, we partnered with an organization called CEFA. It's an Italian NGO which work together with CCBRT at improving economic conditions of people living with disabilities. So we partnered with them on providing learning experience for people living with disabilities. We invited them at the bank, we gave them a tour, we provided financial literacy. And guess what? Actually, some of the young people who visited us, who were part of this program, ended up getting short-term contracts with the bank, and they're still with us now. So we really promote these groups as well. And as I said, and I'll insist so much that we are an equal opportunity employer. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the good responses, Mr. Gerald and Madam Jo. I would like to welcome Ms. Lauren and Eva for your question. Ms. Lauren, please welcome to ask your question, followed by Ms. Eva. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to ask the question from Mr. Gerald, that which kind of skills are the young people going to improve when they invite them for the interning, and what kind of opportunities that they give when young people go to intern there?
Yeah.
Thank you for the question. Ms.
Okay.
Please welcome and ask questions so that the speakers can answer both of them. Thank you. Ms. Eva, welcome. It seems Ms. Eva is not online, so can you please, Mr. Gerald, can you please answer the question of Ms. Lauren? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Lauren, for the good question. The answer is that we are not focusing on the area of skills specific, but rather we try to support all areas of training. I did not mention, for example, the internship program which we did, where we were trying to link the graduates with the SMEs, which is normally not the case because these two sectors have not been coming together. But what we did was to identify graduates interested to work with SMEs in specific areas, and then asking SMEs what kind of skills would they like interns to work on. If an enterprise said that we want a food technologist, then from our database, we would identify the food technologist who would be attached to a food processing enterprise. If an SME said we want, for example, an accountant, then we would look into our database for an accountant who could be attached to an SME that looks for an accountant. Similarly, for engineering aspects, management, and so and so. So it was not very specific on a particular line of education or skills. And the one which I mentioned that we are in the process of formulating, it's the same. It's not only on one line of education or skills, but rather broadly, because we know that the education provided in Tanzania and elsewhere is on different fields. Thank you. I don't know if I have answered your question correctly. Yeah, thank you.
Ooh, thank you so much for your responses. We'd like to have breakout sessions for 5 minutes, whereby there is a simple question that we need to discuss in group. Then we come up with the resolution, then we'll be closing the session. Breakout session for 5 minutes. Everyone will be going to the groups right now. Thank you.
Model United Nations, the simulation of United Nations General Assembly, which is organized annually in Tanzania by Youth of United Nations Association. The simulation gives young people all over the world an opportunity to meet and discuss the world pressing issues. At the same time, it's coming with resolutions from the discussion and debates, which are usually governed by United Nations General Assembly rules and procedures.
Tanzanias internationales Museum von den Vereinten Nationen wird Lektiva diskutiert.
Tanzania International Model United Nations, the simulation of United Nations General Assembly, which is organized annually in Tanzania by Youth of United Nations Association. The simulation gives young people all over the world an opportunity to meet and discuss the world pressing issues. At the same time, it's coming with resolutions from the discussion and debates, which are usually governed by United Nations General Assembly rules and procedures.
Internationales Museum von den Vereinten Nationen wird Lektiva diskutiert.
Thank you guys. Because of time, we won't have the breakout session, but I hope next week, we'll have the breakout session so that we can discuss in deep of what we are going to discuss. I would like to welcome Ms. Umi to give us the short conclusion of what we discussed and the way forward so that we can close. Ms. Umi, please welcome. I can see that we have more questions. We have a question for Zainab Tolib and Eva Kakwale. And have Starlight Chabongo. If follow me, they can ask the question because want also to answer the question. So Miss Eva, welcome, followed by Miss Zainab and Abdul.
Hello. Hi everyone, I hope you can hear me. As my name has been mentioned, my name is Eva Kakwale and my question goes to Madam Joanita. Just in brief, I would love and like her to explain and elaborate to us, especially youth, like wherever we have solutions or ideas that we want to present them to the companies or enterprises. So who exactly do we face? Who exactly is going to support us or help us? For instance, I had a friend of mine who we had worked on this proposal on how to overcome population in banks, even before the COVID-19 pandemic. But we were very much disappointed and discouraged that we did not get help from the bank of NMB directly. So I would love her to explain this. Where can I get solution, or who would I meet for my ideas to be implemented? Thank you.
Nice question, Eva. Nice question. Zainab, welcome for the question. Madam, you're welcome for the question so that I can respond.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Zainab should ask the next question. Good, Eva. Thank you so much for your good question, and I'm disappointed that you did not get the support that you expected. And I hope after this session we can take it offline, you and I. So one of the key values at NMB of at our bank is innovation. We really support innovation. And in fact, we have a department and a digital function that specifically deals with innovation. Now, because you are a young person, and my unit or my department deals directly with young talents, the youth, I will very much, I'll be looking forward to hearing from you on your idea, and then I will connect you with the relevant department. But also, I'd like to encourage you to look at our management trainee program. All the information is and can be found in our website. And as I mentioned, we are launching the 2020-2022 program. So take time to read about our program, and I'll be very happy to see you. And if you'll be interested in joining our program, of course, the process is very transparent and very clear, but would like to hear more from you, Eva. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Jo. Abdul, welcome for your question. Abdul, followed by Zainab. Welcome for your question. The host, can you please unmute the ones who will be asking the question? Zainab, welcome. I think you're unmuted. Can you please welcome and ask your question? I think Zainab has some technical issues to ask. Abdul, welcome for your question. Abdul?
Thank you so much, the moderator, as I have heard the nice and beautiful views from NMBA in the UNIDO. My question is, many global crises has happened in previous years, but the main problem is that we don't have the targeted policy intervention on how we can tackle the problem once it is on the board. So my question is to NMB and UNIDO, can you give me the measures, or if you have a continuity plan on if any pandemic or any problem has happened, will happen in the coming years, what measures or what plan have you made these current years? Thank you so much.
Abdul, thank you so much for your question. I'm not sure if you were here from the beginning when I was talking about when COVID-19 hit Tanzania and the measures that the bank had taken. I think, and I'd like to believe that we were one of the first organizations to actually implement the measures that we took. That means we've always had these plans in place. And when the first case of coronavirus was mentioned by the government, it was just a matter of us just implementing the plans that we had in place. We have what we called war sites, working area sites, where in case of disaster, in case of issues like COVID-19, staff can go and work from there and not having to come directly to the head office or other work premises. So for us, we've always had these plans. In terms of policies, I think many organizations are currently relooking, reviewing. We've been forced to relook and reviewing a number of policies related to these situations. But in our case, we've always had plans, but we are now, improving and, redeveloping some of these plans. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think there is no more question for today.
Maybe if I mention a little bit on the UN, is that normally there are contingency plans, but for preparedness, but it is sometimes very difficult to know exactly what kind of disaster or event is going to happen. So as far as COVID-19 is concerned, I think nobody expected it. Nevertheless, the contingency plans which were in place were applied. As far as the UN is concerned, I would talk about a little bit about WHO, which has been working hand in hand with the government right from when the disease had not been identified in the country. And when the first case was confirmed, you remember that lady in Arusha, WHO was involved in all the measures which government has taken. WHO is involved, and the other related UN agencies. So the contingency plans are there, but they vary and differ according to the kind of emergence that happens. So I would not agree that there were no plans, but they are there, which can be quickly adjusted to suit the situation that is evolving. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have Miss Zainab over here. She has typed a question. I want to ask for those people who lack professions. For instance, Mr. General spoke of accountants, but we have youth who lack exposure, as well as professions and who love to get more skills and experience. How do you reach them out? The question is typed by Ms. Zainab. Please, our speaker, can you respond to these questions?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, first of all, on the websites of UN, you will find opportunities being advertised for internship, for employment, and so and so, for consultants, and so and so. And it is in different fields, including accountants. But I also mentioned about the internship program, which we implemented a few years ago, and we are in the process of reviving, depending on availability of funds. We don't, we cover all professions. So in this case, when it becomes operational, we start looking for which graduate is interested in which field or has been traded in which field. And then the employer, particularly we are trying to link with the SMEs, which SME is looking for an intern with such expertise. Then we link the two, then they continue with business. But of course, we don't leave them by themselves. We follow up very closely to understand if there is any support which is required directly from us or somebody else, so that we help them to gain the workplace experiences, soft skills, and so and so. This is how I would maybe respond at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a very, very beautiful conversation we had today, and a very productive one. And we hope after this session, we'll have something very concrete to move on. I would like to welcome Mr. Philemon Moleka, coordinator of TMU 2020, to give his closing remark. Mr. Philemon Moleka, please welcome to give your closing remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Ali. Thanks so much for a lovely and amazing moderation for today's sessions. Dear esteemed speakers of today, Mr. Reynard Maeda, Secretary General from United Nations Association, Madam Juanita Rogasira Mrengo, Head HR Center for Expertise, and Mr. Gerard Runyoro from United Nations Industrial Development Organization. We really appreciate for your time, though it was short notice for some of you, but we appreciate for amazing speech that you're being given to our youth. And we apologize for taking too much time, but our youth, our participants, they had a thirst to ask some questions, but I believe that they are satisfied. Lastly, it's my pleasure to extend my sincere appreciation to my team, an incredible team of vibrant young people from different backgrounds, together to make this thing happen. Thank you so much, and with no doubt that I will not be able to make this by myself. Thank you so much. Lastly, let me conclude by saying we are going to have another session next week, and as we know that this year we have a general election, so that we are going to have a topic said youth engagement in civic participation. So thank you so much. Thanks for your time. Hope to see you next time. Thank you, Madam Joe. Thank you, Mr. Gerard. Hopefully we are going to make to in touch in many ways later on. Thank you so much and have a good day. Mr. Ali, for last announcements, you're welcome.
Guys, it was a very wonderful discussion. So there is a link which will be sent in the chat box, but also on your emails on how the survey form of this station, so that we can get your inputs on how we can make these stations become better. So there is a link be sent on your chat box. So that's the link, you can access it and fill it up. But also I have a request from the team of publicity. Let's take a picture, all of us. Let's take a pictures. Let's open the camera and have one beautiful pictures that will be shared on our social media. So everyone, let's open our cameras and have a very beautiful pictures. Yeah, I can see smiling faces of today. I think all of you have been well satisfied. So let's all of us take a beautiful pictures, a selfie. Thank you. That's a very beautiful pictures. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I see some smiling faces, beautiful smiles. Thank you so much. I hope we'll see each other in Arusha on 2020 later on. Thank you so much from the technical. Everyone can have a beautiful video coming.